So the beautiful natural healing remedy of giving is it fires and wires all of these at the same time. And I have to tell you, there's very few things that actually you can do in your life to create this at a physical form. And so this increases your well-being. It decreases your most important part. This is the cortisol in our body. It actually decreases the stress in our body.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Mind My Age, the podcast where we explore the journeys and wisdom behind healthier, more fulfilling aging. I'm your host, Neelam Brar, and today we're joined by a remarkable guest, Jacqueline Way. Jacqueline is the founder of 365 Give, a global movement encouraging people to give every day. Her TED Talk titled How to Be Happy Every Day, It Will Change the World has garnered over 8 million views globally, and she's here to talk to us about how small acts of giving can transform not just our communities, but also our own well-being. It's an inspiring mission, and I can't wait to dive in. But before we begin, I'd like to remind you that Mind My Age is presented by Total Life, offering therapy focused on healthier aging and covered by Medicare. If you or a loved one needs support to navigate life's challenges, our experts are here for you. Jacqueline, welcome to the show. You know, every time we fly, we're reminded that you have to put your own mask on first. And what does a typical day look like for you in doing that self-care and self-love?
Yeah. So my days actually, people are always shocked. As a mother of three, my days start pretty early. I've got to get the kids up and going and off to school. And I'll tell you, there was probably a good decade there that I say I lost a decade, but I lost a decade to my children because they had to come first when they were younger. And so now these are my years. I've taken it back. So my day starts at 4 a.m. every day. It starts with a meditation and gratitude for the day. So I always do that for the first 30 minutes of my day. And then I move into my exercise. And I take an hour to an hour and a half every day to exercise, whether it's a run on the seawall here in Vancouver, Canada, or it's to the gym, or it's just in a home gym that I have set up as well. That's my physical health. And then my day starts with my children. So I make sure that if nothing else, I know my day has started with me, with my meditation, my journal writing, my gratitude, and my exercise. So no matter how sideways the rest of the day goes, I've taken and made sure I've taken care of myself first.
Jacqueline, you are the founder of 365 Give. It's a global movement dedicated to encouraging people to give every day. Can you tell us a little bit about how this started and why the idea of giving every day is so powerful?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll let everybody know, I didn't know the power of giving when I started this. 365 Give actually started as a personal parenting project. Part of my beautiful journey with my family is I'm actually an adopted mom. And so my first son came home at just 11 weeks old. And when we brought him home, his life started pretty rocky. He actually was in foster care when we brought him home. He was a child of the Ministry of Children and Family Services, abandoned by his family when he was born. And what I knew is that I needed to make sure I took the time with my child to foster what my parents had fostered in me as well. And that was to really make sure I took the time to foster a kind, compassionate, loving little human being, and specifically a man. Because what I know is that if we don't teach our children this before they hit school age, then we start to lose control of what's actually influencing them in their world and how they're being trained and how their brains are being trained. And so at the ripe old age of 3, I actually started a giving project with my son, which is now called 365 Give. And we did one thing to give back to the world every day for 365 days, but it had to be so simple a 3-year-old could do it. And what I know is that neurobiologically, I was able to start to create pathways in my child's brain that were built on compassion and love and care.
One of the things that we love to focus on here at Mind My Age is the science of healthier aging. And I know you've done a lot of research on the connection between giving and well-being. Can you share with our listeners what the science says about giving every day and how it can actually improve your mental and physical health?
You bet. It's called the helper's high. A lot of the researchers call it the helper's high. We like to call it your daily dose of happiness. And it's really important that everybody understands what chemically actually happens to your body when you give. Even these small acts of giving that I've been talking about, where you recognize with intention, you're taking your bags to the grocery store to benefit the planet. Well, this is what happens. And this is how I like people to remember it. So dose stands for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and your endorphins. And this is both a chemical and a brain reaction that happens in your body to actually make you feel feel good. So dopamine is our reward system. For anybody that has a phone and scrolls through Instagram or any other social apps or plays video games, that's what fires in your body to want more and stay on. It's the dopamine hit that you get. It's your reward system that automatically kicks in when you give. The next one, my favorite, is oxytocin. Well, that's our love center. When you make connection with someone else, a hug, a smile, you're holding a baby, you're petting an animal, that's oxytocin. That's actually our love response in our body that turns on. The next one is serotonin. That's our body's happiness transmitter. So you actually feel happier when you give. And the last one is our endorphins. For anybody that's out there that exercises, I'm a runner, so I get the runner's high on a regular basis. That makes you want to keep going and actually give more. So the beautiful, natural healing remedy of giving is it fires and wires all of these at the same time. And I have to tell you, there's very few things that actually you can do in your life to create this at a physical form. And so this increases your well-being. It decreases your most important part, this is the cortisol in our body, actually decreases the stress in our body. They did research studies over COVID, the most stressful time on our planet, and it actually decreases anxiety, stress, and depression. So if you want to make yourself feel better, and what we know about people, and especially in our older years, is we feel very much alone. And depression and anxiety is one of the leading problems in society today. I actually say it's our world's pandemic at the moment, is the mental health when it comes to anxiety and depression in the world. And what we know is that giving and that connection with others, the connection to our planet, the connection to animals can start to change that for you. But it's a practice. It's not a one and done. You can't just go give one day and you forget about it. This is a daily practice that becomes part of who we are in our life, because all of a sudden mentally you'll start looking and experiencing the world differently. You'll start connecting to yourself and to others in a different way. And what we know is when we get older, these are all of the key pillars of well-being for ourselves.
So many of our listeners are retired, and isolation and loneliness is something that is rampant at all ages, but disproportionately affects our elder population. What's your advice to folks that are listening right now and like the idea of what you're saying, but don't really know where to start?
Sure, absolutely. Listen, I have one of the most amazing senior centers right here in my neighborhood that services thousands of seniors. Okay, so that's one of the first places that I look at are what are the senior community service centers closest to you, because I know a lot of communities do have them. Go make a connection there. Ours offers lots of courses and everything else for seniors, but they also offer them lots of opportunities to do volunteer work together as well. That's a great starting point to go, okay, so what can we do as a group here? And what I know about so many seniors is that there's a lot of hidden skills that I think generationally right now have gone a bit down the drain. Things like crocheting and knitting and art, and like so many artists in the seniors community. So why not take some of those things that you enjoy already and start spreading those around? Could you sit and make cards for other seniors? Could you sit and make cards for young children in potentially the children's hospital who can't get out? Could you sit and make knitted toys? My kids were born at Children's Hospital here with no parents. Can you sit and knit or crochet little sweaters or blankets or sew things? My kids got these beautiful blankets that they came home with, which volunteers had made, and they were quilted blankets that I still have for them and have cats, that were all made by volunteers to these kids who have no families when they're born. Like, it's amazing. So there's so many different ways that even if you're at home and you can't get to a senior center, how can you use your skills to still make that contribution right where you are?
Mm-hmm. Jacqueline, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and the incredible work you're doing with 365 Give. Your message is so uplifting. It's truly obvious that you embody everything you say, and it really reminds us of all of the power we have to make a difference one small act at a time.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for everybody for listening and taking the time. And, I hope that you can find your ways to create happiness in your own life and to find your ways to give, because we got one planet, right? We know where it's going these days, and it's going to take all of us, all 8 billion people, just doing something every day, and we can change everything.
So thank you again, Jacqueline, for joining Mind My
You're
Age.
welcome.
For our listeners, if you're inspired by Jacqueline's message today, I encourage you all to visit jacquelineway.com and check out 365 Give to learn more about how you can bring the power of giving into your life. And if you're looking for support to navigate life's challenges or rediscover your own purpose, or unblock yourself, don't forget that Total Life's therapy services are here to help you, covered by Medicare. Visit totallife.com. Make sure to subscribe to Mind My Age, rate and review this podcast on your favorite platform, and stay tuned for more inspiring conversations. Until next time, remember to age with purpose, live with joy, and give a little each day. Thank you.